Hi again, everyone. Gary Digital Williams here on Beltway Boxing News and Notes on the Boxing on the Beltway Podcast Network. And don't forget, you can listen to the podcast network by subscribing to Spreaker.com or iHeartRadio.com or Stitcher.com or TuneIn.com. Now, if you want to hear the broadcast live as it happens, Spreaker is your best bet. Spreaker.com is your best bet to go there. Otherwise, you can wait for the podcast to hit iHeartRadio as well as TuneIn and Stitcher and hear all the great content we have here. We have some great interviews. Hope you heard our press conference with the Peterson brothers that we held at Bald Eagle Recreation Gym this past Thursday. And, of course, we have some live Beltway boxing action. Hopefully we may have some this coming weekend. We talk about the Friday March 8th show. We'll talk about that a little bit. That's part of what we're going to do today. We have a big weekend to recap, including about 3 bouts that we didn't really know were going to take place until late. And then we got the information about it and put it out there. But we're going to talk about that as well. And then also we're going to preview the final preview of the March 8th show. And then we're going to talk about a couple of bouts that are coming up in the future that are very big. And we want to give it to you give them information out to you now and make you get ready for it. And we're going to have a commentary on a guy that just can't seem to get it straight. He doesn't understand. He's a little young, and it's hurting him right now. And we're going to talk about him as well. And we're going to have another tribute to a fallen professional wrestling icon who passed away earlier this week. Beltway Boxing News and Notes on the Boxing on Beltway Podcast Network is brought to you by Real-Time Pain Relief. From boxers to ballerinas, for shoulder pain and muscle strain, everything in between, Boxing Along the Beltway recommends Real-Time Pain Relief, the natural, plant-based, safe, fast, and effective ointment. You go to freepainoffer.com, buy $10 worth of Real-Time Pain Relief. You get a free $10 tube of Real-Time Pain Relief. Rub it on. The pain is gone in real time. And by DeborahSpears.com, you can go to her website, get some great dieting tips, weight loss without dieting, eating real food along the way. And you can also get that great jewelry she has on her website. That's Deborah, Debra Spears.com. Well, as I said, a big week for Weekend for Beltway Boxing this past Saturday, March the 2nd. And a couple bouts we didn't even really know about. We focused a lot on the bouts with Jamal Dyer, as well as Darren Williams. But we didn't know that at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, 3 Beltway boxers were on a card there, and all 3 were victorious. Antonio "Another" Russell, he scored a 6-round TKO. He's the bantamweight, of course, out of Capitol Heights, Maryland. Scored a 6-round TKO over Jose Maria Cardenas of Tijuana, Mexico. And Russell was in control throughout this contest. I had a chance to see it on the Showtime Facebook stream. This was on the undercard of Arislandi Lar and Brian Castano, I think his name is. And I got a chance to see this bout on the stream. Russell was in control throughout the entire contest, but as the bell rang to start the 6th round, Russell hit Cardenas with a stunning straight left hand. Cardenas just backed into the neutral corner. Russell swarmed all over him. And then just after 22 seconds of action in the 6th round, the ringside doctor actually got up on the apron and he told the referee to stop the bout. So congratulations to Antonio Russell. He remains undefeated. He's 13-0, 11 KOs. Cardenas is 16-4 with 13 KOs. So a quality win, as far as his record is concerned, a quality win for Antonio Russell, and could put him in a good state down the road here. So we'll see what happens. In the 6th round battle on that card, Landover, Maryland welterweight Tariq IGB Irby, he won a unanimous decision over Dennis Okoth of Kenya. Irby scored a knockdown in the midway through the 1st round. He went on to the easy victory. We don't know what the scores were, but it was an easy victory for Tariq Irby. He's now 7-0, 2 KOs. Okoth is 2-1, 1 KO. Also, Baltimore, Maryland middleweight Aaron Anderson. He returned from almost 2-year absence. He won a 4-round unanimous decision over Chuka the Lion King Willis of Emporia, Kansas. Anderson went the distance for the very first time in his career. He won by shutout, 40-36 on all 3 of the cards. Anderson's now 4-0, 3 KOs, and Willis dropped to 4-10, 3 KOs. So 3 good wins for our Beltway boxers at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Meanwhile, at the Voinovich Center in Columbus, Ohio, Baltimore, Maryland lightweight Jamal Dyer He won a 6-round unanimous decision over previously undefeated Carlos Dixon. Both guys were 7-0. I'm sorry. Take it back. Dixon was 7-0 coming into the bout. 7-0, 5 KOs. Don't have any scores for it, but again, Dyer wins the 6-round unanimous decision. He's down 9-1, 5 KOs. Olsen falls to 7-1, 5 KOs. And we had the Priority Grand Hall in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Washington, D.C. Super Bantamweight Darren Sweet Williams. He lost an 8-round unanimous decision to Oleg Dovun of Pittsburgh by way of the Ukraine. This bout was for the vacant ABF, American Boxing Federation, USA Super Bantamweight title. So minor regional title on the line here. Again, we didn't get any scores on that, but it's the first loss for Williams. He's now 7-1, 4 KOs. Dovun remains undefeated, 8-0, 2 KOs. 8-0, 2 KOs. So we had 4 wins, 1 loss on this week. So very good to see that. No question about that. So congratulations to Beltway Boxers Tough Break for Darren Williams. Now let's move to this week. Of course, the Golden Gloves continue. The semifinals for the Golden Gloves take place on Saturday, March 9th. At Road Squad Raceway begin at 7:30. So more of the Open. The juniors will be wrapping up, I think, this week. And the Open will be in full force this coming week. Of course, we do have the novice as well. So should be a good week. There's been some good crowds out at the Road Squad Raceway. Pretty good action as well. So we had a lot of last Saturday at the Golden Gloves. We had a lot of stoppages. We had about 5 or 6 referee stops contests. And that's usually rare for an amateur show. And I'm not sure what that means yet, but but we'll see what happens this week. Once again, the Golden Gloves, Saturday, March 9th at Rose Garden Raceway, beginning at 7:30, the first of the 2 semifinal dates. Now, however, we got to talk also about Friday, March 8th at Live Casino in Hanover, Maryland. The Jetta Promotions card there, good card on hand, and we'll run down the full card. In just a few moments, we've given you a preview of most of it, so we're just going to run down the card as it is. But we do want to tell you about this. There is a weigh-in for the card that'll be on Thursday, March 7th. It'll begin at 6:30 p.m. at the center stage on the casino floor in the Live Casino. Now, the weigh-in is going to be open to the public, free and open to the public, but the fans who come there have to be 21 years or over. We got to let you know about that. So that's Thursday, March 7th, 6:30 p.m., center stage on the casino floor. And then the card is Friday, March 8th at Live Casino. And here's the card as we know right now. In fact, the card is pretty much done right now. So we're ready to get that out. We do have a couple of changes on the card and one addition to the card we haven't talked about yet. Of course, the main event is a 10-round bout for the Maryland Super Middleweight State Championship. It'll be Damon, the best at it, Nicholson. He's 20 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, 19 KOs out of Laurel, Maryland. He'll take on Jesse the Beast Niccolo out of Baltimore, Maryland, 27-9-3, 9 KOs. In a 6-round lightweight contest, the co-feature will be Dante, the Red Comet Cox out of Elk Ridge, Maryland. Of course, he works at the Live Casino. He'll take on Glenard, Maryland's Devontae Speed Rawls, 10-1-1, 7 KOs. This is going to be an interesting bout, I think. It's going to be a very interesting bout. Again, Cox has to deal with the hand speed of Speed Rawls, and we'll see if he can do that. That's 6-round lightweight bout. Dante Cox versus Devontae Speed Rawls. Greg the Sharpshooter Outlaw Jr., 7-0, 2 KOs, one of our prospects of the year for 2018. He'll be in a 6-round super lightweight bout against Tyrone Crawley Jr. out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Outlaw 7-0, said 2 KOs. Crawley 7-1-1 in his career. Now, I believe he was scheduled to take on Donald Wallace, but that has changed. So now he's going to take on. No, he's not. No, he was scheduled to take on Greg Outlaw. My bad. He's scheduled to take on Greg Outlaw on this card. AJ Williams, he's 0-1 out of Cockeysville, Maryland, making his return against 0-2 Dameron Kirby of Washington, D.C. That bout is scheduled for 4 rounds in the super middleweight division. AJ Williams versus Dameron Kirby. It'll be Brima Jawara. He's making his pro debut on this card from Germantown, Maryland. Takes on Malik Little League Lofton out of Suitland, Maryland. He's 1-1, 1 KO. That's a featherweight bout scheduled for 4 rounds. Brendan Chambers. He's a police officer in Baltimore, and he will make his pro debut against Christopher Haney out of Glendale Heights, Illinois. 4-round lightweight division. Haney is 0-3-1. Now, here's one of the changes for the cards. Dangerous Donald Wallace. His opponent has changed for the 3rd time. Now he's taking on Lawrence Blakey Lawrence Blakey out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Blakey is 5-12-2 with 2 KOs. He's trying to break a 5-bout losing streak. That included a 10-round unanimous decision loss to Frankie Filippone on December 8th in Norfolk, Virginia. All right. So that's a 6-round super middleweight bout. Dangerous Donald Walls taking on Lawrence Blakey. In a heavyweight bout, scheduled for 8 rounds for the third time, Jerry Slug Forrest out of Newport News, Virginia. He is 23-2, 19 KOs. He'll battle Grover Young out of Memphis, Tennessee, 13-25-3 with 9 KOs. That's an 8-round heavyweight bout. And the super welterweight bout, scheduled for 8 rounds. This is new to the card here. Rashad Radzab, the Python Butaev of Brooklyn, New York, by way of Russia, South Russia. He'll take on Leonardo Payne Servitiner of Detroit, Michigan, in an 8-round bout. Butaev is undefeated, 10-0, 8 KOs. He last fought on October 27th, stopped Azil Kosio in the 3rd round in New York City. Meanwhile, Tyner is 35-14-2, 22 KOs, coming off an 8-round unanimous decision loss to Isaiah Jones on February 8th in Detroit. Now, Tyner will make his second appearance at Live Casino. He fought on the August 18th card, which, of course, the Beltway boxing card of the year. Lost a 10-round unanimous decision to Ivan Golub. So that is the card for Jetta Promotions card. Friday, March 8th at Maryland Live at Live Casino, Hanover, Maryland, at the Arundel Mills Shopping Center. Now, it's a possibility, and this may be a game time decision, that Juan Marshall and I may have the call of this card on the Beltway Boxing Podcast Network, Boxing on the Beltway Podcast Network. Either that or we may be on WBGR. I don't know what the status is on this yet. So hopefully by Friday we'll find out. Of course, one way or another, we'll be on the air doing something for this card, which is scheduled to begin at 7 p.m. Eastern Time at Live Casino in Hanover, Maryland. That's the card there. Now, we got a couple of announcements about upcoming bouts we want to let you know about, because they are very big bouts. We want to let you know right away. I will tell you this, though, and I won't get into it until the end of this month as we get into the April schedule. You know, every year or so, we seem to have what I like to call the Awesome April Beltway Boxing. Well, April 2019 looks like it is going to be absolutely packed. It'll be huge. We've got bouts and cards inside the Beltway. We've got cards outside the Beltway. And we have just a lot of things going on in the month of April that we'll let you know about in the next couple of weeks as we give you the April schedule. But suffice to say, it will be huge. No question about that. It will be huge, April. Now, one of the things that we will talk about now in April, it's going to take place on Saturday, April 13th. It'll be at Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And that will be where Baltimore, Maryland's now heavyweight, he's fighting as a heavyweight for this bout, Slick Nick Kisner. He'll be in a bout against Otto Wallen, who's out of Sundsvall, Sweden. This bout, once again, Saturday, April 13th, Boardwalk Hall, Atlantic City, New Jersey. And it'll be on the undercard of the Undisputed Female Middleweight Championship bout between Clarissa Shields and Christina Hammer. Now, they're saying this bout is for a title. We're not sure which one. Wallen is the EBU European Union title holder, as well as the WBA Continental Heavyweight Champion. So I would assume that the Continental Heavyweight Championship might be on the line for this bout. We'll see, though. Kisner is 21-4-1, 6 KOs. He's coming off a 10-round majority decision over Scott Cujo Sigmund. That was in Columbus, Ohio. Wallen is 20-0, 13 KOs. He's coming off a 12-round unanimous decision over Adrian Granat on April 21st in his hometown of Sundsvall, Sweden. And this will be his first bout in the United States. Now, this bout is scheduled to be televised on Showtime on the undercard of Hammer and Shields. So it should be interesting to see what happens there. So that's Slick Nick Kisner, Saturday, April 13th at Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and a bout against Otto Wallen coming up on that card. So that's a big one for him. Now, a slightly bigger one in this situation because what's on the line here. And this comes from BoxingScene.com. BoxingScene.com reporting that undefeated Upper Marlboro of Marlboro, Maryland super featherweight Lamont Roach Jr. is slated to take on a guy named Jonathan Poivo Oquendo of Vega Alta, Puerto Rico. And that bout will be a WBO eliminator contest. And it'll be held on Saturday, May the 4th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. And that will be on the undercard of the bout between Saul Canelo Alvarez and Daniel Jacobs. And I would guess that it will be on the pay-per-view broadcast of that card. So we'll see what happens. Now, both men come into this bout. They're holding regional titles by the WBO. Roach is 18-0-1, 7 KOs. He's the WBO international champion. He won that belt a couple bouts ago. Oquendo is 30-5, 19 KOs. He's the NABO super featherweight champion. Roach is ranked second in the world by the WBO. And he successfully defended that title, the international title, with a 10-round unanimous decision over Alberto Mercado on December 15th at Madison Square Garden. Oquendo is fifth ranked by the WBO. He's also ranked by the WBC as well. He last fought on December 8th. He won an 8-round unanimous decision over Davey Julio Basa in Torre Baja, Puerto Rico. Now, Roach fought that same Davey Julio Basa in Cancun, Mexico on July 20th. That's when he won the international title, and he stopped Basa in the 6th round. Now, here's the stakes on this. The winner of this bout is slated to receive an opportunity against the reigning WBO super featherweight champion. His name is Masayuki Ito of Japan. So that's the big bout on the line, big stakes on the line for Lamont Roach Jr. and for Jonathan Oquendo as well. So that's a big one, no question about that. So that'll be May 4th, Saturday, May 4th. It'll be on the undercard of Canelo Alvarez and Danny Jacobs, and I would think it would be on the pay-per-view, but there's no official word on whether or not that bout will be on the pay-per-view telecast coming up. So best wishes to both Nick Kisner and Lamont Roach Jr. with their big bouts on that particular day. One thing we forgot about for this weekend as well, Friday, March 8th, is the big bout for Travis Severe Reeves in England. Take on Anthony Yard of England. That bout will be at Royal Albert Hall in Kensington, England. And again, they're talking about Anthony Yard already being a candidate to take on Sergey Kovalev for the world title. So this is up for Travis Reeves to really upset the apple cart if he can defeat Anthony Yard on Friday in England. So again, a lot of stuff going on this coming week. Now, a couple things. As you know, we've got 3 male world champions in the Beltway. Of course, Gary Russell Jr. is the WBC featherweight champion. Jarrett Hurd is the IBF, WBA, and IBO 154-pound champion. And Gervonta Davis is, for the second time, this time the WBA super featherweight champion. Now, the question is, what separates those 3? The big thing about Gary Russell and Jarrett Hurd, for that matter, is that it really comes down to one word, and the word is structure. Both Gary Russell Jr. and Jarrett Hurd have that structure. They have it inside the ring with, of course, Gary Russell Sr. training Gary Jr. with assistance from his younger brother, should say, Alan Russell. And of course, he's got his brothers, Antonio and Antoine, and all his other family members around him. He just became a father again. He and his wife have twins named Layla and Ali. Yep, that's what their names are, Layla and Ali. He's got great support with his father, Gary Sr., and his mother, Luan. So structure is a big key there. Jarrett Hurd, same thing. He's got structure around boxing with Ernesto Rodriguez as his head trainer. He's got Fred and Brenda Hurd, his parents, who are great role models and great support system for him. His brother, Justin, is there too, and family members, and he's got a big fan base around him as well. Structure is a big key there with the Hurd family. Structure, not so much with Gervonta Davis. And because of this, he is in some hot water again. In case you have not heard this a number of people have reported this, but I'm reading from the ESPN article written by Dan Rayfield and Steve Kim. Arrest warrant for one count of misdemeanor assault was issued for junior lightweight world title holder Gervonta Davis following an altercation at a mall in McLean, Virginia on February 17th. Davis had a run-in with a man at an ATM at the Tyson's Galleria in suburban D.C., and then as police arrived to investigate the matter, Davis began to bicker with them before shoving an officer. This is according to TMZ.com, who reported this news. Davis is 24 years old, and here's my thing. This seems to be a classic case of someone who did not grow up with structure, getting too much, maybe too soon, and just simply not knowing how to deal with it. And to add to that, as he's trying to figure out how to deal with it, he is learning from the wrong people. He's a two-time world champion. His last bout against Hugo Ruiz back on February 9th, that was $1 million payday for Gervonta Davis. I can't remember the last time we've had a fight for $1 million in the Beltway. I'm not sure if Lamont Peterson has done it. I think he has, but I'm not sure. I don't think Jarrett Hurd has done it yet. So when you talk about $1 million purse, the last person I remember for certain fighting for $1 million was a boxer we had here years ago, really a top contender in this area by the name of Daryl Coley. When Daryl Coley fought Oscar De La Hoya, he fought that bout for $1 million. And it just seems that since Davis got hooked up with Mayweather, and I don't blame Mayweather per se, I really don't, because Mayweather, for all the influences that he's had on Davis, and all the showing of the money and the riches and the fame and all that, I believe Mayweather has helped Davis in some way. I really do believe that. And I think the fact that Mayweather, pumps up Davis along with his cohort, his person, Leonard Ellaby, who's a native of Washington, D.C., he has helped Davis in many ways. I do question his relationship somewhat with Adrian Broner. Okay, Broner, and the weird thing about Broner, and this is the weird thing. There are times when Broner is on his best behavior, and when he's on there, he's doing well. Let me give you an example. Broner at times comes down to D.C. and trains with the Headbangers Gym in Washington, D.C. And when he's down here, and Barry Hunter's got a hold of him, he's dealing with the Harris brothers, Jamie and Boogie, he is on his best behavior. He's a first-class person. He comes, not only does he come here and train, he goes out and supports the local boxing scene, the Beltway boxing scene. I've seen him at the Golden Gloves. I've seen him at a number of pro cards in the Beltway area. And he's on his best behavior. When he leaves here and goes other places, that's when he seems to go wild. And sometimes he takes Gervonta Davis on that trip with him. Gervonta Davis came from very little. He had issues with his parents. And he kind of had to raise himself. Had it not been for Calvin Ford and Kenny Ellis of the Upton Gym, who knows where he'd be right now? To be perfectly honest with you. I don't think he'd be where he is right now. And that's one of the top boxers in the game. He wouldn't be in that position. No way. But he's 24 years old now. He is an adult. He doesn't consider himself. He is an adult. but he doesn't know how to act like one yet. And from him missing weight a few months ago and losing his first title on the scales, and through the couple of problems he's been in recently, he still doesn't know what's going on. He still doesn't understand. He still doesn't get it. And yes, there are allegations. And the first time the allegations were there, they threw the whole case out. The person he was accused of assaulting kind of settled the case and didn't really press any charges. That's fine. That's great. It's the fact that he gets in these situations in the first place is what bugs me. It's not so much that he gets accused and it is that, he gets accused. And that's bad as it is, but really it's him being in the situation to even be accused. He's got TMZ watching him almost every step of the way now because of these foolishness. They're looking for him to do something foolish, and he gives it to him. That's the problem I have. TMZ looks for Adrian Broner to do something foolish, and Broner gives it to him. See my point? This is my point there. Hurd and Russell, they go out and do great things for the community, but they have a structure that does not allow them to do stupid stuff. Davis needs that structure, and I'm not sure he's even going to get it from Calvin and Kenny. I really don't know. I don't think they can rein him in much anymore. And I hate to say this, but it may come down to having something really hard hit Gervonta Davis before he realizes really what he has and how he's going to learn how to keep what he has. Because right now, as great as he is, he's one of the best boxers in the world right now. There's no doubt, no denying that. He has to start acting like one of the best boxers in the world, in and out of the ring. So I wish him well. I really do. He's a great talent. I've watched him from the amateur days. Juan Marshall and I covered his first pro bout, which was on the Lamont Peterson, Kendall Holt card back in 2013. And he's a tremendous talent. I mean, he's just a tremendous talent. But he needs to start acting like it in and out of the ring. Now, finally, another tribute to a pro wrestling legend gone by. He passed away this week. Truly one of the better big men in the wrestling business. And of course, we talked about Don Leo Jonathan, but this guy was really interesting. He was a cultural phenomenon, in all honesty, at some point in his career. We're talking about a man known as King Kong Bundy. His real name, Christopher Palalis. He was from Atlantic City, New Jersey. He was about 6'2", 6'3", weighed 468 pounds. Now, King Kong Bundy, first time, let me say this. A few weeks ago, I had a chance to watch a number of episodes on the WWE Network of All-Star Wrestling. This is from around 1980-81. And there was a guy who was what we used to call a jobber. They're known as enhancement talent now. Enhancement talent. And he was on the TV show from Allentown, Pennsylvania. And his name was Chris. Well, it was either Chris Canyon or Chris Cannon, depending on I guess what day of the week it was. I don't know. But Vince McMahon called him Chris Cannon. The Chiron would come up Chris Canyon. I wasn't sure. But that was the future King Kong Bundy, who would be in jobber matches, enhancement talent matches against both good and bad guys back in the early 80s. And then in 1982 or 3, he made a trip to the world-class wrestling territory in Dallas, Texas. And that's where Fritz Von Erich was the major promoter there. And, of course, his stars were his own sons, the Von Erich brothers, Kevin, David, and Kerry first, and then Mike later on. And they ran an angle that Fritz Von Erich was scheduled to retire from wrestling and be strictly promoter. And his last match was in Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas, and it came up against the now renamed King Kong Bundy. And actually, Bundy went down to Dallas first as a character called Big Daddy Bundy. He was a good guy back then. And then Gary Hart, the manager, legendary manager, Playboy Gary Hart, got him, made him heel, and he became King Kong Bundy. And of course, there's a memorable image of Fritz Von Erich pinning King Kong Bundy in the end zone at Texas Stadium. And that was a huge moment then. So he was in Texas for a couple years. Then he moved on to the Mid-South, which is the Oklahoma, Louisiana territory, Arkansas, and the Mid-Southern territory, which is the Memphis territory. And around that time, that's when he started asking for the 5 count. You know, the referee would count 1, 2, 3, and he'd hold out his hand and go 5, and the referee would have to count 2 more times. And that's where he really started to get his fame going there. So much so that then Memphis had a big shift. Jimmy Hart came from Memphis, Mouth of the South, the manager, and King Kong Bundy would come to Memphis. And Hart actually managed Bundy early on, and by the time the first WrestleMania hit at Madison Square Garden, King Kong Bundy was on the card, and he wrestled S.D. Jones and beat him what was called 9 seconds, but reality was closer to 20 seconds than 9 seconds. So that was kind of, but it was still a squash match to say the very least that time. So that's how King Kong Bundy really made his name. Now, in a trade, as they called it, a trade, King Kong Bundy would be traded by Jimmy Hart to Bobby the Brain Heenan for the services of Adrian Adonis and the Missing Link. Actually, both of them are gone too, by the way. Adrian Adonis and Missing Link, a.k.a. Dewey Robinson, are both no longer with us as well. But Adrian Adonis passed away in a car accident, in a bus accident, van accident. But anyway, King Kong Bundy became a member of the Heenan family, and Heenan teamed him up with Big John Studd. And boy, they were a major league tag team back then. And that's also when Bundy would make a big attempt at the World Wrestling Federation title, held by Hulk Hogan, of course. And in a month before WrestleMania 2, which was held in New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles for some strange reason that they can never understand, King Kong Bundy, Magnificent Morocco was scheduled to wrestle Hulk Hogan for the world title on a Saturday Night's Main Event TV episode in Phoenix, Arizona. Well, Bundy interfered, and Bundy and Morocco, with the help of Heenan, beat up on Hulk Hogan, crushed his sternum a little bit, and tried to put him out of action. They also put out Andre the Giant out of action. He and Big John Studd put Andre the Giant out of action. Well, it would come down to WrestleMania 2 in Los Angeles between Hulk Hogan and King Kong Bundy in a steel cage, and Hogan would regain the title during that evening. And then in WrestleMania 3, Bundy was in a 6-person tag team match. Bundy and a couple, I don't know if you can use the word midgets anymore, but two physically challenged wrestlers, Lord Littlebrook and Little Tokyo, would take on Hillbilly Jim and his 2 buddies, Little Beaver and the Haiti Kid. Now, what was weird about this, and I'm just finding this part out for a while. Now, of course, in the match, Little Beaver would antagonize Bundy by, kick him in the leg. He hit him upside the head with his shoe. He was kind of a Native American character, so he hit him with a moccasin and hit him upside the head. And then finally, Bundy landed a big elbow on Little Beaver. And actually, what I didn't know until recently, I just read about it, it cracked Little Beaver's ribs so much, the big elbow, that Beaver could no longer wrestle. And then all the other little people not ganged up, but they turned against Bundy, and Bundy had to leave the ring by himself. It was really, really bizarre, really bizarre. So that pretty much were the highlights for King Kong Bundy. He would go on to wrestle in other federations, came back to the WWE at the time, part of the $1 Million Corporation. In fact, he and Andre were teammates at one time. They were both in the Heenan family together. And again, Bundy would also be a part of Ted DiBiase's $1 Million Corporation. And throughout the time, he would become a cultural figure. I remember, and yet I don't even remember an episode of a show called Night Flight. They used to have a series on there called Dynaman, which was a English dubbed version, comically dubbed version of a Japanese, kind of the early days of the Power Rangers. And I remember the one line in the story, they had a big monster on the show, and he said, he's even bigger than King Kong Bundy. So it was really a cultural phenomenon. And he was on Married with Children. He played Peg Bundy, Katie Siegel's brother. He was in a couple movies, and he was a cultural figure in the latter stages of his career and his life. So he passed away at only 61 years old. And let me end this by saying there was I got sent a picture. It was a drawing, actually. And it was a drawing of Bobby Heenan's Heenan family. It was Andre the Giant, Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig, King Kong Bundy, John Studd, Rick Rude, and Heenan himself. All 6 of those wrestlers are no longer with us. They're all gone. And it's sad because I know there's issue with the steroids and all that. And I think a lot of these people have some effects of that, but I think in other cases just a lot of action early, and they didn't get a chance because of their schedules back in those days, and even today, really back in those days, where you had to wrestle almost 300 times a year, 300 days a year, and sometimes 365 days a year, and even in the early days of the territories, you wrestled 6 days a week, and on the 7th day, you wrestled twice, And you didn't get a chance to take care of your bodies. And I think a lot of the wrestlers now, that's hurting a lot of them now because they didn't take care of their bodies. They didn't take an opportunity to take a break and take care of their bodies. I think one of the things that allowed Bruno Sammartino to live as long as he did was that when he took those breaks, especially after he held the title for almost 3 years, and after he lost the title to for 7 years. For 7 years, when he lost the title to Ivan Koloff, he spent time taking care of his body. He rested. He really did not do anything. And even after he lost the title in '77 to Superstar Billy Graham, he rested. Not as much. He rested a little bit. Which leads me to a boxing point real quickly before I finish. I hope you had a chance to hear us during Lamont Peterson and Anthony Peterson's workout. And one of the things that Lamont Peterson said, that after he lost to Errol Spence, and I actually talked to Barry Hunter about this as well, he did nothing with boxing. He didn't train. He didn't talk about boxing. Nothing. For a long time. And then he started to train again. And as he started to train again, he started to love the sport again. And that's what sometimes you have to do. And I don't know if a lot of these wrestlers do that. And this leads to a lot of the things that are taking place and a lot of the wrestlers dying today. Of course, again, a lot of it's steroids and some of the drugs they've used. But I think in some cases, they just don't heal themselves very well. So we'll see. But again, he was a great big guy, one of the best big men in the world. King Kong Bundy passed away at the age of 61. So tough break there. So that will do it for another edition of Beltway Boxing News and Notes on the Boxing on Beltway Podcast Network. Don't forget, go to the Best Buy and Amazon links on boxonthebeltway.blogspot.com to purchase your items from those links. It'll help the blog out as well. Don't forget, I'm on Twitter at Digital25, and we are sponsored by Real Time Pain Relief. Go to freepainoffer.com, buy $10 worth of Real Time Pain Relief. You get a free $10 tube of Real Time Pain Relief. Rub it on, the pain is gone in real time. And by DeborahSpears.com, great jewelry, great weight loss tips on Deborah, DebraSpears.com. I'm Gary Digital Williams. Thanks for joining me, everybody. And always remember to keep supporting the best boxing in the world, the boxing along the Beltway. Thanks for listening. Take care.